Glad morning everybody. It's my pleasure to start today for your well-being. I'm Shalini from Bharathidhasanar, Matric, Higher Secondary School, Arakkonam. So children, so far we have seen the introduction about Red-Headed League and the characters of Red-Headed League, and then what is the conversation between Sherlock Holmes and Jebus Wilson, and what were the mystery that happened in Wilson's shop. Okay, so this was the thing we saw in a previous class, and in this session we are going to see part 2 of Red-Headed League. So in this session we are going to see what is the mystery actually that happened in the Red-Headed League, and the second thing is how Sherlock Holmes is going to find out the crime or mystery that has happened. So these things we are going to see in this session. So Holmes asked some questions about the Wilson's assistant. Who is Wilson's assistant? Yes, Vincent Spaulding. And then Sherlock Holmes told Dr. Watson that they have to go to violin concert. So where they have to go? They have to go to violin concert. Violin concert by this evening. Okay, so he was saying these things to Dr. Watson, and Dr. Watson also accepted, and when they were going to violin concert they have to stop at Wilson's shop. So Sherlock Holmes is addressing to Dr. Watson that we have to go to Wilson's shop while we are moving to violin concert. But it seems unusual for Dr. Watson. Why? Because why he have to stop at Wilson's shop? Why was the reason? So this was the thinking going on in Dr. Watson's mind. Okay. So now let's see where they are moving. Yes, it is a Baker Street in London. Yes, it is a present Baker Street in London. So in this street, every shops were known by Sherlock Holmes. Sherlock Holmes knows every shops of Baker Street in London, and Baker Street is known for Sherlock Holmes. And in every Arthur Conan Doyle stories you can find Baker Street in the novels. So Baker Street is more familiar to Sherlock Holmes, and Wilson's shop is in the Baker Street, and Dr. Watson and Sherlock Holmes, they started moving to violin concert. At that time they stopped at Wilson's shop. And this man, Sherlock Holmes, was knocking the door for 3 or 4 times with his walking stick. Okay. So usually Sherlock Holmes will carry walking stick with him always. A young man came out from the house. Sherlock Holmes asked the man that, what is the way to go for a concert? So can you find who's the man, young man? Yes, Gurkul, you are on the right line. The young man name is Vincent Spaulding. So he is the assistant of Jebus Wilson. So he will be in the shop, of course. So when he knocks the door, at that time he came outside and just answered to the question of Sherlock Holmes. He just directed him the way. He said, 3rd on the right, 4th on the left. And then he immediately closed the door and they went. Okay. So this seems unusual again. For whom? For Dr. Watson. Why? What's the reason? See, Sherlock Holmes knows every shops in London. He knows each and every places of London because he is a famous detective agent. Am I right? But he was asking the way. To whom? To the young man, Vincent Spaulding. And this seems unusual for Dr. Watson, and he is asking with Sherlock Holmes that, why you are asking the way to the young man? Why? What's the reason? Then Sherlock Holmes addressed, or he confessed that he wants to see the man and the knees of his trousers. Okay, and we doesn't know what is the reason behind it. So we'll see that in the later part. But he saw the knees of the trousers and then they left the place. Okay, so while they are going in this Baker Street, at that time Sherlock Holmes keenly recorded that there is 3 things behind Wilson's shop. So what are all the 3 things means? One is newspaper. So one is newspaper shop. Second one is restaurant. And third one is the main thing, a bank. So these are the three things that was keenly looked by Sherlock Holmes. And this made some curiosity in Watson's mind. So why he is seeing these things in a keen way and what might be the reason? So he was thinking in this way and they both left to the violin concert. So after the violin concert, Sherlock Holmes told with Dr. Watson that he have to meet two important persons. So who are the two important persons? Yes, one is Mr. Jones. His full name is Peter Jones. Okay, so one is Peter Jones. And second person is Mr. Merriweather. Okay, so he have to meet the two important persons, Peter Jones and Mr. Merriweather. Peter Jones is a policeman, a great policeman in London. Okay, and Mr. Merriweather is a manager of a bank called Merriweather Bank. And then he saw Peter Jones and Merriweather, and then they four were traveling. So who are the four? Peter Jones, Merriweather, Dr. Watson and Sherlock Holmes. They four were traveling inside the taxis and they four were stopped at Merriweather's bank. And Merriweather called everybody inside the bank and they went inside the cellar. So cellar means an underground room that is used to store lots of things. Okay, so especially in bank, because in bank they used to store lots and lots of monies and lots of gold, that is jewels. Okay, so cellar is nothing but underground room. Okay, that is used to store lots and lots of things inside. Okay, so Merriweather called everybody to bank and they went inside the cellar. So why they are going inside the cellar? To check the golds or to take the golds away? No, they wants to find out a great thief called John Clay. So Sherlock Holmes is addressing for the first time in the story that he have to find a thief called John Clay. So what is his name? His name is John Clay. Okay, so he have to find a thief called John Clay. So that's why they came to the bank and they went inside the cellar. Why the thieves might be interested in going for a bank? What's the reason? Why? Because they are in need of golds. They want to rob at a bank to get lots and lots of monies and golds. So that's why they are interested in bank. And now Dr. Watson was very clear about what is going to happen. So Sherlock Holmes was addressing with everybody that by tonight they are going to have some crime scene inside the bank and he is making everybody alert. Okay, so we shall see the crime scene in the next class, that is on next part of the session. So in this session we have seen what is the conversation between Wilson and the man Sherlock Holmes, and the conversation between Dr. Watson and Sherlock Holmes, and the scene which took place at a Wilson shop's door where Sherlock Holmes meets the young man called Vincent Spaulding, and the conversation between Dr. Watson and Merriweather and Police Jones. Okay, so we saw these things in today's part, and in next part we shall see the crime scene and how Sherlock Holmes is going to find out the thief called John Clay. Okay, so we shall see these things in the final part of the story. So I have attached the self-assessment question bank and the subject material in the below description for the further clarification. So just go and visit it and then you have to do the important thing, that is you have to read the story line by line, read each and every scene of a story and practice it well, and you have to know the character's name properly and just concentrate on each and every character. And Sherlock Holmes is the protagonist of the story, where you have to read the characteristic features of Sherlock Holmes, and then you have to read about the conversation between Dr. Watson and Sherlock Holmes, because Dr. Watson is the narrator of the story who is narrating the story to us. So you have to read the characteristic features of Dr. Watson and Sherlock Holmes. Okay, so and do the self assessment and send it to the following WhatsApp number. So until then, take care children, and thanks for your quiet listening. Good luck everyone. Bye bye.